Lesson 19, solving one-step equations by adding or subtracting. An equation is a mathematical statement that uses an equal sign to show two quantities are equal. There are two properties. One's called addition, one's called subtraction. So the addition property of equality and the subtraction property of equality. I'm just going to write it with the slash between it so we don't have to write both properties out. So the addition property of equality and the subtraction property of equality. This is what it says. You can add or subtract, depending on which property you're talking about, the same number or the same amount from both sides of an equation. And the statement will still be true. And this is how we write the properties using symbols. So if we have if A equals B, then we can add a number to A and we can add the same number to B and they'll still be equal. So let's say A and B both equal 3. And let's say C equals 2. So we start here, 3 equals 3. 3 plus 2 equals 3 plus 2. So 5 still equals 5. So you can add the same number to both sides, it stays the same. That's the addition property of equality. The subtraction property of equality says if A equals B, then we can subtract the same amount from both sides and it will still be equal. Now when we solve equations for an unknown variable, we use what's called inverse operations. Inverse operations undo one another. So here's an example. X plus 6 equals 9. You could just look at that and know that x equals 3. But we're going to practice using our inverse operations. In this case, we're going to use the subtraction property of equality. So if we look at x, it has a plus 6 on it. So we want to do the inverse of adding, which is subtracting. So we're going to minus 6 from both sides. And on the left side of the equal sign, we have an x. And on the right side, we have 9 minus 6, or 3. Example 2 is x minus 2 equals 8. So we find our variable, which is x. If you take away 2, that means you're subtracting, and the inverse of subtracting is adding. So we're going to add 2 to both sides. And on the left side, we'll be left with x, and on the right side, we'll be left with 10. So x equals 10. Example 3 is negative 21 equals p plus 9. Again, we find the variable. This time it's on the right side. We're adding 9. We need to do inverse of adding 9, which is subtracting 9 from both sides. So negative 21 minus 9 is negative 30 equals our unknown p. So just a reminder, inverse operations, adding and subtracting are both inverses. Multiplying and dividing are also inverses. And that's the end of the lesson.